The ego, family. The ego, black folks. That's the enemy. I was speaking to a queen a little earlier. Again, this is all, I'm a student learning from my ancestors. So I'm a student teaching other students or relaying messages from my teacher. The ego is the enemy. Your ego, we all heard the trouble. We all heard the term, your ego will get you in trouble. Your ego got you in trouble. Your pride, swallow your pride. Because your ego is your enemy. Your ego is a manifestation of the subconscious mind on earth. So your ego is actually opposed to what your agenda should be, which is your soul getting the fuck out of the human body and leaving this earth. So your ego loves everything of earth. Your ego seeks to validate everything on earth. So your ego loves so-called power, money, material things, good tasting food, beautiful women, or if you're a female, beautiful men, sex, what else? I mean, the list goes on. But that's your ego. That's the false you.
To the shit. You gotta willingly give them the food. So in other words, we say it all the time, if a chicken is running, you catch his ass, the meat is stiff. He's scared. The fear shot through his body right before you kill him. But what if the chicken was not in fear? When it gave you its meal? Well, I bet you that meat would be fucking tender. So what they need you is to be willing to give it up. But I think your fear is what they do want. What they,
i.e. religion.
They don't want is your awareness. I think that spoils the meat. Because you'll see, the more you become aware of what I'm teaching you right now, the more you'll see the humanity is laid off. You're not a good food source anymore. See, Bobby Hemmett was trying to tell you the secrets. I've been
Memphis.
Facts.
In Egypt.
Facts.
Okay, you got big, Memphis. I mean, if you look at Washington, D.C., it's basically a ripoff of Memphis.
Facts.
In Egypt.
Facts.
Okay, you got big.
Facts, family. Washington, D.C. was designed by Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker, if you trace his lineage, first of all, Benjamin Banneker was like a pure genius. Benjamin Banneker designed Washington, D.C. from the top down. He designed Washington, D.C. like Washington, D.C. was aligned with the stars, family. And Benjamin Banneker did this on a ground level. He designed an entire city aligned from the top down from the ground. And if you trace his lineage, Benjamin Banneker is a descendant of the Dogon tribe in Mali. Facts.
No obelisk. You got Washington, D.C. designed like a pentagram. The pentagram is the two triangles, the two pyramids. We're going to break all that down because the Star of David was all stolen out of Kemet. That's basically another version of the Ankh and the yin yang symbol. And like I said, the pyramids in China aligned to the pyramids in Kemet, which aligned to the pyramids in Mexico, which aligned to Easter Island. This whole world is fucking Kemet. This whole solar system is Kemet.
You go in the Bible, the Genesis story. If you go in the Bible, the Genesis story, it says that God, which, we know is not the true God, It's a basically a childlike deity, Yahweh. But the creation process is still the same. It said that God, from the darkness came the light. Okay? This is no spookism, this is just magnetism. Frequency, vibration, energy, and magnetism. From the dark, he created the light on the seventh day. Is that what it said? You know what I'm saying? I'm not quoting it, but it's something like that, right? On the seventh day, he created the light, and then he rested. You know what I'm saying? That is, family, that's the fundamental creation of duality. Okay? Or polarity. Positive, negative, opposite. And more so, it is that's the observation process. See, basically, the entity has to separate itself from itself to know itself. Okay? It's like a mirror. If, you and I, we don't know what we look like. We know we exist, but we don't know what we look like until we look in the mirror. A mirror is something other than us, but it's a reflection. You understand, family? So, this deity had to create a polarity, a duality, something outside of itself to know itself. That is the process. That's what metaphorically the Bible is saying. From the light, from the darkness, created the light. The entity had to separate itself from itself to know itself. And by doing that, it created polarity, which was the female principle.
The all, which equals the true God. The all, the true God, the one and same. So everything that you see, this whole universe, is a thought. It's a mental creation of the all. Now, what is a mental creation? Okay, we're going to break that down. Okay, the act of thinking moves empty space. Okay, every time you think, every thought you transmit is moving, is fluctuating empty space. Okay? Just follow how this works. It tells you right there, the act of thinking moves empty space.
Europeans call it law of attraction. I forgot the European who wrote the book. It was a absolutely, they knew that.
Here we go right here, the Huffington.
That's the law of attraction, family. That's what the Europeans call the law of attraction. I forgot the European who wrote the book. It was a powerful book, bestseller. That's the law of attraction. And another thing I want to add. Our ancestors prophesied, and they knew we was going to go into chattel slavery. They knew that we were going to be under the domination of these Archon offsprings, which we call Caucasians, who, we did genetically engineer. And they knew they fucked up, and they prophesized it. And basically what they did was, when they knew they fucked up with their alchemy, genetic engineering, they knew that they had to try to hide the majority of the knowledge, right? So what they did was they just dumbed themselves down. Okay? So they basically, they stopped practicing, and then they stopped teaching, and then they let the knowledge die out through generation and through generation. And then they retreated from Kemet, went back into the interior of Africa, and stop practicing, stop studying, and stop relaying the information to the youth. So they dumbed themselves down intentionally because they knew they made a critical mistake, and they basically, that's how they hit it. Because I mean, and that's some genius shit when you really think about it. They intentionally dumbed themselves down.
Post.